You're watching World News Today with me, Zainab Badawi. Now, more on our top story. Iran has revealed two developments in its controversial nuclear program. For the first time, Iranian-made nuclear fuel rods have been loaded into a research reactor in North Tehran. And the head of the Iranian Atomic Nuclear Agency says a new generation of centrifuges, 3 times more efficient than the existing ones, have been put into operation, expanding Iran's ability to enrich uranium. While the moves are bound to increase fears in the West that Iran is working on a nuclear weapons program, which Iran, of course, denies. Well, Reza Marashi is at the National Iranian-American Council, a body that tries to advance the interests of the Iranian-American community. He has also worked in the Office of Iranian Affairs at the U.S. State Department. So, Reza Marashi, the United States downplaying this. Are they right to?
I think that, Iran is trying to project strength by putting on a nuclear show on the same day that it responds positively to the permanent members of the Security Council plus Germany's offer for negotiations. And, I think what that really means is Iran is signaling to the West that it won't come to the negotiating table and give up its nuclear rights as a result of the unprecedented amount of pressure that it's facing by sanctions and isolations and threats of war, things of that nature. So, if Washington comes to the negotiating table with that expectation, I think any negotiation is doomed to fail. And so what we need to do is put this in its proper context, which is moving forward with the negotiations. They have to be devoid of a certain level of threat in order for success to be possible, and it has to be invested in a longer-term process, and we can't expect something to come up in the short term.
Nevertheless, for a country like Israel, which has said very much that it sees Iran as a threat, and of course we had those attacks this week, which of course Iran denies any involvement against Israeli interests, could this nevertheless serve as fodder for those who would wish to use it to say that Iran does indeed constitute a threat because it's trying to develop a nuclear weapons program?
That's certainly the track record that we've seen over a number of years now. I mean, with regards to the recent terror attacks that happened back-to-back days earlier this week, the Israeli government is the only government that's come out and accused and confirmed Iran being behind those issues. Even my own government, the American government, has been conspicuously silent on this issue. So I think we need to put a little bit more due diligence into this investigation before we come to a proper conclusion and figure out how to properly nip terrorism in the bud.
All right, but nevertheless, we did have inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency going into Iran a couple of weeks ago trying to see if there was a military dimension to the nuclear program. And Iran clearly kept back this information that they revealed today from those inspectors, didn't it?
Well, I think it's more a matter of the inspectors going into Iran and Iran having a track record of not cooperating to the extent that I think we all would hope that they would and would appreciate them to do. But moving forward, I think this issue is one of many that the IAEA inspectors want the Iranian government to be more forthcoming on. And I think as the grounds for negotiations, the environment for negotiations shifts from a more negative light to a more positive light, which is something that we haven't seen until really today with this response to Catherine Ashton's letter. That's really what's going to cause the Iranians to answer the questions that we want them to.
Reza Marashi, thanks very much indeed for joining us live from Washington.